Mohammed, what do you got on that board? What have you been writing down? Reasons why the 49ers are overrated?
The reasons why we have Brock Purdy story one.
Hmm.
We have it's going to be a close slugfest in quotation marks. It's going to be Debo Samuel. We've got the battle of the D lines. It's going to be the most physical game of the NFL season. I just want to keep these as notes for Sunday. That's all.
Yeah, definitely.
I just want to keep them as notes. But who
Oh,
you got, Matt?
I mean, yeah, it's most certainly going to be a defensive battle as well as offensive battle. Like you were ripping through those names that each team has for receivers. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey, the Swiss Army knife, can pretty much do it all. Yeah, I see the Eagles taking this one purely because of how consistent the Eagles have been all year. The Eagles didn't lose to Chicago or Atlanta this year, and they also didn't give up 44 points to the Chiefs. Of course, with that said, the 49ers have proven so much recently, especially I want to give a special credit to Kyle Shanahan, how he has gone through, like, think about what he has gone through this year. He spends the entire summer getting ready for Trey Lance. Trey Lance goes down. All right, now I gotta brush off the dust of our old playbook so that we can throw it over to Jimmy. All right, he goes down. Okay, so we got this new Brock kid. I haven't had to deal with rookies since Debo Samuel, and he was an absolute freaking nature his first year of the league. So I have to deal with a rookie quarterback right now who's probably not going to be any good. Nobody knows this guy's name. And here we are. He's at the NFC Championship game. So of course, absolute lot of credit to Kyle Shanahan. He's gonna coach out of his mind against Nick Sirianni on Sunday. But I see the Eagles taking this one because offensively, that is going to be the difference. I see the Chiefs and the Bengals being a closer game than this one. I really think that Philadelphia knows how to score in more ways. Let's take a look at the run game last weekend. Sanders almost 100 yards on the ground. Kenneth Gainwell 113 yards on the ground. They were absolutely destroying them. Now this isn't indicative of just playing terrible team, like a good team with bad defense is how I'm trying to label the Giants, because they showed a lot of heart this season, of course. But the Eagles more likely to score touchdowns, and I have a feeling that it's going to become overwhelming. We saw secondary breakdowns against Seattle, to me, and I think that the 49ers are going to be exposed again. The long balls to Devontae Smith are going to be there. Dallas Goedert is going to be a factor. And I think the ground game ultimately, of course, the 49ers, if there's one team that's going to stop Sanders and Gainwell, and of course, the man himself, probably runner-up MVP Jalen Hurts, if one team is going to absolutely slow him down, it's of course going to be the 49ers. Because no one's getting through Dre Greenlaw, no one's getting through Fred Warner, no one's getting through Aziz El-Shayir, of course. But I think that from that game, it's going to be a little bit more, whoever wins, 49ers absolutely could win. We could see Debo not be as inconsistent as he's been. We could see Ayuk 100 yards. We could see Kittle, 7, 8 catches, and McCaffrey a couple yards, a couple touchdowns. I mean, but I think that it's really going to come down to the offensive power that the Eagles have just been consistently showing. They've been consistently dominating. And then from the AFC side of things, I do think that Mahomes' ankle injury is insignificant because he was able to finish the game on Sunday, and they were able to win in a pretty close game against Jacksonville. With that said, I also think that the Bengals are not going to have all their weapons firing on all cylinders like they did against Buffalo this past weekend. Mixon, over 100 yards on the ground. Chase, almost pretty much 2 touchdowns. We should call it 2 touchdowns that Chase had. Higgins had a great game. Everyone was involved. Hayden Hurst is not going to, I think he was almost leading. He was either first or second receiving yards for the Bengals. But I just don't think we're going to see that. I think that the Chiefs have found a way to win. Mahomes is going to win the MVP this year. And the Chiefs have just been consistently doing their thing. Maybe a few tough spots here or there with some gains against the Colts, I believe they lost to earlier in the season. But none of that really matters now. I think that we're going to be seeing a consistent possession. If we go back to the Bills game last year against the Chiefs, the Bills should have won that game. But there were 13 seconds left. Harrison Butker kicks a field goal to tie it. We're going to see a game very similar to that. The Bengals should win this weekend, but I think the Chiefs are ultimately going to get there. If we go to overtime, I'm taking the Chiefs 100% as well.
one thing about the Niners, and I'm very curious. I want to ask this to you guys. I, for some reason, came up with this hypothesis that I think reason why Brock Purdy is doing as good as he is because no one's been able to crack him yet, I guess, and understand what he is and how good. Do you think that that's going to be a bit of a it's going to hinder the Eagles? The fact that this kid is kind of like no one really knows about his game too much, even though you're like kind of a couple games in, you think the ambiguity of Brock Purdy is going to cause some trouble. I can't even believe I'm saying this out loud here. I'm actually giving an argument for 49ers, but I'm saying that I think it's very plausible to look at Brock Purdy as a maybe next year when everyone understands him a lot more, but on a week to week basis, it's hard to really study a guy for that long. Do you guys think that the ambiguity of Brock Lesnar, Brock Purdy's game was is going to cause Philadelphia some trouble or what?
Josh.
Well, I mean, I don't want to just like defend my guy here and there, but I mean, I do have a Brock Purdy jersey coming this week, but that's a different story. But no, I do
He's
think
committed.
I do think his inexperience is a benefit to him because teams truly don't know what he's going to do. Like you saw, I'm sorry, Mo, but when we played the Seahawks, you guys,
I didn't have to go that low. You just didn't have to.
but like your defensive line couldn't tackle him. Like he was more mobile than I
I
think a
was
lot of
yelling.
people gave him
I
credit
was
for.
yelling.
Like I just think the guy is such a gamer. People don't know what he's going to do, and I think that works to the 49ers' benefit.
Yeah. There is some sort of uncertainty, another way to phrase it for sure. But I think ultimately with Brock Purdy, there's gonna be some predictability with how much the 49ers are gonna run the ball and how few deep shots I think that they are gonna take. We can kind of see what the 49ers do already, what Shanahan has been working with these guys. If we're looking at receivers, I mean, the only real deep threat is Brandon Ayuk, which is very inconsistent. I think for him to be absolutely going off against the Eagles, I don't think that's going to happen. The ability for the 49ers to get short catches, which Brady is, I mean Brady, which Brock is going to.
Oh no! Oh no!
I'm going to edit that out. I never said that.
Oh no!
So as I was saying, I think Brock Purdy is going to throw small throws, small passes to Kittle and Debo, who are yards after carry specialists, and Elijah Mitchell and Christian McCaffrey are going to get involved a lot. But I think that's a little bit predictable of what we can see from the 49ers. This isn't just Brock Purdy individually. Like he can do a lot, but he's also a very he's kind of like Joe Burrow, such that he's very like he can do a lot of things, but he's only really like he's not like exceptionally good at running the ball, or he's not exceptionally good at getting out of the pocket, making something happen, scrambling, doing something when the time kind of you have to make a play in some way. He's obviously great accuracy in throwing, but I don't think the Eagles are going to be too hindered by any of that. I think that Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick are probably going to get to him. But, I mean, who really can tell, since he hasn't, like, the 49ers haven't lost yet with him, and this is the time, right? Like, this is the time when we're going to see, the test of him with the 49ers. Because I think ultimately it's the 49ers that we're looking at here, right? So
Let me hear one X factor for every team that you guys are going to see this weekend. Mo?
Oh, mine. I was actually. The more I talk about it, this feels weird. I'm really bigging up the Niners here and selling them on. No, I now that we're talking about this, I think part of the reason why they are where they are is because of how like odd their offense is. Like even the Christian McCaffrey in and of itself is that's like a whole different. That's a science experiment. That's like a laboratory kind of thing where he can be anything at any time. But I think that So my X factor, if the Niners have any chance, I don't want to get too high on these guys because I feel like I'm stroking on Mr. Rice's ego here. I think that I'll honestly go with Brock Purdy / Christian McCaffrey, only because they aren't really a team that people are like they're not stellar in terms of like the best running back or the best like or well McCaffrey's up there, but in terms of like the top 200% at their position. But I think like preparing for those two guys is the combination. Even like as Josh is mentioning with the Seahawks game, I was super frustrated with how the fact that nobody could tackle him, and he just looked like he was Lamar, Brock Purdy, Jackson out there. I don't know what was going on, but something was happening with that, and so I think that they're probably a key X factor, in my opinion, on that end. And then yeah, that's I guess my key highlight for me is those guys. But even though I still got the Eagles winning, but if anything happens, I guess with those, I unfortunately won't be too surprised. So that's kind of my X factor on the NFC, and then the AFC. It's just I don't know. I just think that Mahomes is going to just push through as well. So just those are kind of my two picks there.
Yeah, for sure. And then I would say X factor in the NFC. Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to watch this game. But honestly, I think that Devontae Smith is going to be an X factor in that game because no one gives him a whole lot of attention. He had a phenomenal year, and he's been leading the way, getting to the red zone. Former Heisman winner. Just an amazing athlete, and I think that because there is going to be a lot of attention on Dallas Goedert and AJ Brown, I think he's going to have a lot of opportunity in this game. And then in the AFC, I'm going to go with Kadarius Toney because that guy doesn't get used a whole lot, but I think we've been seeing his usage increase because he's needed when the opportunity arises for him to either do a jet sweep or to catch the ball, run with it. He's very, very good in a lot of different areas, super athletic. He can return punts. He's doing a lot of things. And so I think that the Bengals aren't necessarily going to know where he's going next. And I think we're going to see a lot of creativity from the Chiefs and what Andy Reid is gonna want to do. So I think for X factors for those two matchups, Josh, what are you taking?
Yeah, I think in the AFC side of things, my X factor is going to be Tyler Boyd. He's the third wide receiver on the Bengals, but I think he's bound to have a breakout game. He started off strong this season. He had a couple 100-yard games, and then he's always been there, but he's kind of fizzled out a little bit. I expect him to have a big role in this game coming up. And for the NFC, I think it's going to be corners on both sides. I think it's going to be big play Darius Slay, and I think it's going to be Charvarius Ward. Brock Purdy is yet to throw a pick, and if anybody's going to do it, I hate to say it, but it's going to be Darius Slay. The guy's a dog, and he's going to be covered up on Debo and Ayuk all game long. So that's worrisome for me. And then on the other side, Charvarius Ward, he's our best corner on the Niners, and he's going to be on AJ Brown all night. And that's a tough matchup for any corner, right? He's a big physical guy who can go down the field, make those one-on-one catches. So I think whatever corner has a better game against their number one receiver on either team, I think that's going to really play a big factor into the game.
Yeah, definitely. You guys are both going to watch both games this weekend?
You know it.
Mohammed, I know you're a busy man.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
It comes to the Seahawks as a consultant, so we're kind of working on working part time for my Seahawks. That's kind of my busyness. That's Seahawks PR. What can I say?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. It's gonna be exciting. Obviously, Super Bowl's coming up. We'll try and get some reactions to this conference championship weekend as well. But yeah, quite something as we wind down the year. Thank you guys so much for being on the show, and take care.
Yeah, thanks for having us.